Hey everybody, it's RDV here with Skip. That's right, Skip and Tosh is here. Yes, Zach. Well, Zach is he's busy till later, so you'll see him on the retrospective. But always happy to have someone else here to talk to. Not that I don't mind talking to myself by myself to just the void. Sometimes it's more peaceful. Depends, but I always appreciate having Skip on here. Skip's knowledgeable on indie stuff. It's like having he's like my brain of indies.
I'll take it.
I'll call you Indie Breen.
Indie Green. Hey, best compliment I got all day.
Wow. Must have been a bad day.
I got 2 teenage daughters, so
I should be giving you compliments. I hope.
nah, only when I'm wounded.
Oh, yeah. Teenage daughters, man.
Yeah.
I had nieces, and I saw what I needed to see, and I was gone. I was like, birthdays? Here you go.
Smart man.
Get out while you can.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, your daughters are what, early teens?
Yeah, early teen.
Er,
Yeah, 13 and 15.
All right, so that's not that bad. I think more kids are like when they get to like 15, or actually not 15, but like 16 to 18. That's when the wild side starts coming out, where it's like I'm an adult. It's like even though it's at 10, it doesn't really hit you until like 16, 17. 16, you're able to drive. 17, you're like, oh, I can drink alcohol now. It's like, and all the other things, you're like, no. And then also you're gonna realize the fact that they're getting closer to being adults.
Yeah, when they're 18, they can do whatever. But
You can get out of my house, right?
yep, exactly.
But you say that now, but you'll miss them.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? I miss them when they go the weekend to their grandma's house.
Yep.
Of course. But hey, we gotta
Yeah, so we got
deal with our feelings.
yeah, we gotta do it, fans. And talking about our feelings, we're talking about our favorite books of the week that came out today. And speaking of which, I actually got my couple of mine. I know you got a couple of yours. I'm gonna start off with my back issues. Now, this first one though isn't technically a back issue. It's just a book that it's a reissue of a series that's already been done. This is now in color, and I'll minimize myself or make myself bigger. All right, this has been actually fun going through and reading this again. I enjoyed it the first time. I'm enjoying it the second time through. Includes even the notes at the back as far as the letters people from back in the day when it came out. And Kirkman actually leaves a little side note in the beginning and talking about it, each stuff, the letters and stuff. And then the other cool thing at the back of this, he also leaves you his notes when he was doing the book, like the cut, his ideas. And then he talks about it on the left side here. It's interesting to see a writer's his thought process when he's planning things out for his scripts.
Yeah,
But
I'm always interested in finding out that type of stuff, and what gets
yeah,
changed, what gets moved, all of that stuff.
and the fact that this guy wrote the ending of the series on a napkin in a restaurant, and I'd venture to say it's probably Denny's. So it doesn't make it epic. It's like
A lot of genius ideas have been conceived at Denny's.
Breaking Bad. That's one of them. As far as Walter White and Jesse always having
There you
the
go.
grand slams.
Yeah, must be the Grand Slams.
And then cool. I mean, just like the dynamite covers. I mean, a lot of the indie books are doing that. So you get the alternate covers in the back sometimes. Dynamite usually shows you the little thumbnails of the covers. But I like that Skybound's doing this. And it shows you what's coming up for next week, so you have a preview of what books you need to grab. If you want cover A, B, C, or D. I'm getting the Paulo Rivera because these are actually the connecting covers. I love the connecting covers more, even though sometimes I like the A covers. But no, I just love it connecting covers. To me, it's like a painting having a wall. It's,
Yeah.
this is the original cover. This is issue 45 of the series. 139 issues. So yeah, you're probably thinking, "Oh crap, it's 45 issues in." It's probably a little harder to get some of these back issue, the color ones, but I'm sure they're popping up in as far as maybe not dollar bins, but maybe in the $3, $2 if you have those at your store. But I thought it's still kind of cool because, like I said, like I'm a fan of the series. I love Kirkman's writing, and I love the fact that it's in color now, so you're getting the same story but in color. So a lot of the scenes are different. The art hits you differently. Zombies that used to blend in with the black and white now appear in color, so you see them earlier. So it kind of ruins a little bit, But yeah, I mean, when I originally saw these books, I admit I passed them on the first time. I could have got issue 1. I looked at the art. And I was just like, wow, art's really bad. But once I went into it and looked at it, I was like, the art actually fits the story. The story's great. I was stupid to pass up on this, and I'm glad I'm able to collect it in color. Probably won't be worth any money, but it's worth to me, though. I can actually collect these. Versus the original ones are in compendiums. That's the only you're going to get them, or pay through the roof for some of the issues. Especially the early ones. But, yep, so that came out this week.
Who colors them again?
It is, I think it's David, Dave McCraig.
Okay.
Yeah. Dave McCraig, and then Russ Wooten is letterer. I know you like letters.
Sure. Yes, I do.
All right.
Rockin' Robbie Billups. Enjoy our letters.
All right. Blade Runner Origins. It's the last issue, number 12. I was so happy that I actually found this. I reached out to you, and I reached out to your twin, Zach. And then I happened to see it tucked behind. I was like, oh, I saw that pink and I saw the yellow. I was like, sweet. Didn't have to pay full price either, so I got it for a little discount. It's older. But, yeah. Now, I know you kind of like dipped out of this or just took a pause from it, but I stuck with this. And I just love this. I mean, so now I still got to read Criminal. But if Criminal is anything as far as just one man versus the corruption, I love that stuff. Maybe Criminal's not that, but I love those kind of series. Those series where you have it's either the fugitive or you have the cop or it's the person trying to make their life better while dealing with their past.
Yeah, I mean, I know you often when you talk about Blade Runner, you talk about how it's like a dystopian future story.
Yeah.
But remember, really the basis of Blade Runner is crime noir, like detective noir.
Yes.
Like that's what Deckard was in Blade Runner. They even put in, I mean, thank goodness they did not the director's cut, but the final cut or whatever, where they took the cheesy dialogue out, but they even had the cheesy detective dialogue or monologue from, like the old noir detective movies and stuff too. So that's what that is, and that's what Criminal is, except for instead of detective noir, it's crime noir, but most of the time it's not detective. So you'll enjoy the elements, but they ain't good guys.
I know. So it's like, but even bad guys can be likable too.
Yeah,
that's the thing, because I love it when you can paint a grayscale, and you decide based on their actions if you think they're worthy of redemption, or you think they're these persons. You know what? They got what they deserved.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hello to Eric Breen, our other criminal is here, Mr. Breen. You're a criminal, Mr. Breen. Paradiso, issue 1. I found it.
Oh, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Hit me again.
That's what I was going to say. Okay, issue number 4. Oh, bow. Oh, baby.
But wait, there's more. Volume 1.
Give me a sign. Hit me RDV one more time. Bow. Nice.
Our pal Kieran Gillen, who's talked a lot over at Marvel. Really.
Oh yeah. Of course he would say something. Ram V's a fellow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he does qualify as a Brit. He does live over in England.
Yeah,
so
but he's right what he says. So it's a sort of comic where every panel contains a world, and you just want to savor it. The art.
Yeah.
The art.
100%. 100%. Absolutely.
I was going through it, and I'm just like, I just love everything in this. This it just feels like an anime or a manga. The way it's drawn, you see this right here is like that's art in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That Paradiso.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm just going through it. It is just a fun, as Kazuboy says, book.
Yep. Look at that stuff, man. You're making me remember some of those scenes. Damn, that was a good book, man.
This only goes up to that. Well, it only goes up to that one part, and I believe it's with the bridge. Yes, the bridge part. That's where it ends. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, because you said that's volume 1.
Volume 1. Mm-hmm. Volume 2, I'm gonna look for now. But I was so glad to find it there. And guess how much I paid for this?
It's $12.
$10.
Oh, okay, nice.
Because it's old school Image.
Oh yeah, where the first trade was $10, kind of like what AWA is doing.
Yeah, so I was like, dude, that's even better. I was ready to pay like 15. I was like, oh, it's 10. Sweet.
Yeah. It's totally worth the 15, but the fact that it's 10, I miss Image doing that with their first trades. Yep. That's kind of came and went, but damn, that was a good time. Paradiso, I can't speak the praises of it highly enough. Like, if you want a true adventure with like incredible world building, equally awesome character work, and just like interesting like fantasy and sci-fi elements woven into it in this very like spiritual way, Paradise is it. Paradiso.
So for my books of the week, I got a new box.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I couldn't resist Iron Man. Nope. So
you didn't get one for Maranya?
She's not here. She won't see it.
No. Yeah, no face, no case.
I've just been loving. I mean, now these boxers are $14 a piece, so you're like, oh, that's way too much. Mm-hmm. I look at them in the long term. I enjoyed the box. I enjoyed the artwork on it, and I'm not going to beat the crap out of the box.
Yeah.
And to me, they're like collector's items. I mean, I guarantee you, someone down the line is going to want these boxes. There's older boxes from like 2016 or 2015 that people are trying to find.
Yeah, I don't like the $15 price for the printed for the artist print ones. I don't really have a problem with it, and like if my budget can't afford it, I just get the white ones when I need them. I have a bunch of white ones, like just kind of. Actually, I only have one more empty white one that I'm not using, but yeah, if I find good ones, like I just found that Darwin Cook one that it had been out for a while, but I just never had it, the Darwin Cook Justice League, and I grabbed it. And what was cool is it was being used. There was some comics in it, and I asked Bailey at A1 Comics out here in Sacramento. I said, "Hey Bailey, like, what's this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's a collection that we just bought." I was like, "Okay, word, like." But like, what's up with that box? He was like, "Oh, you want the box?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "I'll sell you the box. Like, you're my man." I was like, "But there's comics inside." And he was like, "Well, just take them out." I said, "Bailey is cool." And then he gave it to me for $10. I was like, "Man, Bailey,
yeah,
this is why I shop here. You guys are great."
What's the name of the place you shop at?
A1 Comics.
It's, A1 Comics.
Yeah, it's
Northern California. Yeah.
Yeah, Northern California. They've got a whole. They've got 3 stores out here, and one of them is in a old Wells Fargo, so it's got a vault, and they got like crazy keys
all the collectibles going in, and they close the vault.
Yeah, no, seriously, like that's how it is. But if you just want to like see some books, they'll go in the vault and they'll grab them out. But people have walked past, the register, like walked past me with like $70,000 worth of comics.
Jeez.
Like, out of nowhere. It's crazy. Yeah.
If Marvel and DC did silver and bronze age boxes, I'd go broke. True, Eric. Dude, if they had Batman Year One or did Frank Miller Daredevil boxes, dude, I'm buying. I'll buy 2. But Frank Miller Daredevil, it's 1 box for a collector. It's in its own little box, a little bit of plastic bin.
You got to buy 3 so you can sell one to Ash at double the price.
Oh, he'll probably want to borrow it.
Oh, good point. Good point.
So getting on to the books of the week. I read this and I was like, okay, this is going to get a little mediocre. It's issue 5. Okay, like what's going on with the story. There is a well, it's predictable. You know what's going to happen, but I didn't realize it's going to happen this soon. But well, I don't know if usually reading the Marvel here now. Anybody reading Doctor Strange or any of this stuff? Probably not. I say it because Strange his comic book hasn't been that great in a while, but it's been all right. Jim McKay drops a bomb saying that guess what? Our boy's coming back to life sooner than we thought. Doctor Strange is around, but his soul is being held by death. Now he works for death, and he is Harvest on the cover there. He just has silver hair. But Clea Strange does not know this. There's a team up with Moon Knight in this, so which actually made the comic a little better. So, and the way I love the way Jen McKay writes Moon Knight dialogue. So basically, she goes and she visits Moon Knight because Moon Knight's been Clea Strange wants to know you were revived all these times, but yet so he basically tells her that the only way you're going to revive your boy is that you have a god that wants to put him into his service. He said I have no superpowers and all that stuff. So look, he said what kind of person, if you can't find Strange, that's probably why, because he's probably serving a god somewhere. That's why he's not coming back to life. But yeah, so basically what it is, and there's a struggle power going on in hell right now. So basically, Death is enlisted Strange's help, the real Doctor Strange, to basically go after the souls that are fleeing in the corpses of former supervillains and heroes. They're like legion. They're pouring into like the bodies. There's like multiple, like thousands of like these mindless souls, escaping hell, going into the bodies, and they're wreaking havoc. So, and his job is to basically collect all of them, and he, so basically, we're gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen next issue, if they're gonna like finally have those reviewers gonna reveal that he is, because he says he's like we deal with this, but at the end of this, I want you to release me, because the one thing I'm not gonna do is, I'll do this for you, but I will not further to deceive my wife, because she said she will find out. She's smart. So now I know people are gonna say, well, she's a Mary Sue, but like I said, it's semi decent. I've read some of the original Doctor Strange. Couldn't get into it. I'm just giving this a pass because right now I'm just hoping that it's going to get better. But and also because it's Jen McKay. I like Jen McKay's writing, but we'll see what happens. Next book. I'll probably get more flack for it because this book's better. This is Iron Cat. For those who are from Rania, suspend your disbelief that Tony Stark can get his armor hacked, and not only that his ex-girlfriend, who Madame Menace, whatever it is, that she can basically, that she's locked away. Her body, is formed in AI. She's locked away in a prison. She was set free, but now that the girl that's fighting against Felicia in the armor, which Tony Stark had no idea that basically that his armor had been hacked again. She built a new suit, and so now this ex-girlfriend, Madame Menace, is not, or Masked Menace, whatever it is. She's on Spider-Man, so that's why I call her Madame Menace. She's on a Masked Menace. That's my brain. No Hellcat, but so basically, yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like you guys suspend your belief, but it's actually been kind of a comedic thing, as far as going on. Now you can say, and I will agree with this, Tony Stark is still being shit on, made fun of. This book continues that. So if you don't like that, then you can go back and read the back issues from like 20 to 30 years ago. Actually, I don't know. Actually, it might have been the 90s of the last time he was actually written good. It's hard for me to remember on that, but because I didn't really read up to that. I know Marani she hate reads. It's like but I tune in here and there. But it's a fun book. It's entertaining, but it's not the real Iron Man. And yeah, they kind of turned Iron Man into a joke that anybody can just steal his armor. And she's done it twice. Black Cat has out. Lady Hell is the next one we'll talk about. It's a Chaos comic character. I never read the original Lady Hell stuff, but I know that she had her own servant, Evil Ernie, that worked for her. And this continues from what was it? Vampirella. Actually, no, it wasn't a Vampirella. It was Lady. Yeah, it was Vampirella versus Purgatory. And in this, basically Purgatory was kicked out of her own realm. Or not Purgatory, but Lady Hell. She's actually in her dimension. She is Death. She's kicked into Tartarus, where she meets I think it's Persephone. I can't remember what her name is. Yeah, that sounds right. Persephone, yeah, basically wants to kill Lady Hell, but she realizes that that Lady Hell has figured a way how to basically recharge her batteries up, by stealing the souls of the dead that's in the realm. And it's going to be Lady Hell versus Persephone in the next couple issues. So, like I said, it's different. It's a different read for me because I don't have no idea who the character is, but hoping it's really good. It's by the actual it's Eric Burnham. I think he's not the president of Image, or not Image, but Dynamite. I think he's or is he? I know I've seen his name in the credits
Burnham?
here.
No,
Burnham.
He's not the president. Todd McFarlane's the president.
But I know he's done other stuff too. Maybe I'm thinking of the other guy. There's another guy who writes for Xenoscope. A similar name.
Maybe.
Yeah. But it's okay book. Next one is further down. Didn't even make it into the top 5. I just don't know what to do with this book anymore because it's sad to me because I like the original run. It's Daredevil. 650. Not number 2. It's 650. Look at 650. I don't know what's going on here, but the art is still good. I mean, I'll give you that for Chichetto. The girl that he liked in the first issue that we thought he was dead, turns out she's not dead. She never got onto the train. It's just kind of a nonsense. There's this guy who's a former person that used to know them. He's now this omnipotent being, and he just fights Daredevil, causes a train wreck and all that stuff, and Daredevil is ready to kill him until the guy leaves, and just. It's just getting to the point where I don't care for this. This is an oversized issue. There was a second story written by Ann Nesenti and drawn by Chip Zdarsky. So if you're curious what Zdarsky's art looks like, that's it. He has. So the second story is that. I didn't even bother to read it. I just don't like Ann Nesenti. Maybe other people do. There is Mini Marvels by Scott Young in here though. Those are always fun. Yeah, and then they give you here's 650 different issue covers, gallery. So every issue, here's all the covers you can look at.
That's cool.
I mean, that is kind of cool. You look at it and you realize the people who actually have all 650 issues, you have a lot of comic books. It goes on to the next page. It keeps going.
Yeah.
And it keeps going. it's like, yeah. And then we get this at the end here, oh look, there's a thing about Final Judgment with Star Fox. Here's Styles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I almost forgot about that.
Just the reason I hate these oversized issues when you have 2 other stories is the fact it takes away what you could be writing in the main story. The main story just felt like a filler. And then here's we'll cut the original story down and then we'll add more stories. It's no. So, it was $6 and I was kind of irritated by that too. Just to read the second issue. So, and this is why this book's better than that. Because this actually makes me laugh. Armored Darkness versus the Reanimator. Never really watched the movies, the Reanimator movies, but Herbert West is basically a scientist. He has a special formula. He can reanimate beings. He's working with those who watched Army of Darkness movie with Bruce Campbell. There was good Ash and there was bad Ash. The bad Ash is back, and he's been working with Herbert West, and they went to go steal the Necronomicon in this issue. Well, also Ash has been he's on a train, and he's heading towards his next place of basically to find the Necronomicon, but he's too late. He's being attacked by several Deadites, and he's traveling with a female companion who basically she's kind of rude. She's kind of uptight, and she's upset that he basically made a mess on the train because he's like, "Oh, you could just use your shotgun. You couldn't. Oh, why do you have to make a mess with all the blood?" And he's just basically like, "Excuse me, really?" So you're getting a little bit of comedy with that. So better than the other stuff. All right. Next one, Hulk, issue 8. Hulk is just continuing the story where basically Banner is in control of the Hulk. Using the help of Odin, he's able to lift the hammer. Still, another thing is like I love Donny Cates in certain things, but the aspects of the Hulk ever lifting the hammer, we've had Cap lift the hammer. It's just like how many people are going to lift the hammer? I just don't need that, you know. But a lot of violence, a lot of stuff. They basically they are transported. Use the power of the hammer. They transport themselves back to Asgard. Odin says like you don't need the Bifrost to be able to do that because if you have the power of of being a Thor, you can go where you need to. So I don't know how that works, but and he wants to basically bind him to the tree until Thor Hulk starts lifting up the tree. And he says, like, you have to get to my son because convince him, because before he became an Avenger, before I sent him down to Earth to humiliate him, he was uncontrollable, he was unworthy, and you need to knock some sense back into him. So, good fight scenes, good art in here, too. It's, art is by, let's see here, Daniel Warren Johnson is, doing the script along with Cates. And then Martin Cocoyo is the artist. Or
It's interesting that Daniel Warren Johnson is wrote part of it too.
I know. That's how I was like, wow, this seems a little different. I think because there was a where the art kind of changed where it went to the back issue. Maybe he did the flashback scenes.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Next book is actually a book I enjoyed, despite what people are saying about it. It's continuing on. This isn't the last issue. There's 2 more issues after this. A lot of people were complaining. I mean, I know Wes made a video about this. The whole dilemma with this, I'll just keep it short. Bruce has been training since issue 2, and then he met up in issue 4 with his kid named Anton. Anton helped him. Basically, they became buddies, traveling the world, going through different mentors, different teachers, until Anton turned rogue and started killing the teachers. This kind of pissed off, broke Bruce's heart because Bruce has never had a friend, and it's only been about a year, I think, or 2. It's hard to tell how many years it's been since his parents were murdered. There's really no time scale for this at all. But yeah, he's basically at this. He's talking to the last guy, and the guy says, "Oh, you're hung up," because there's a little comedy. This people say, "It's oh, your little ghost broke your heart." It's not that Bruce was in love with him. Bruce was basically they were like friends. They were best friends. So to be portrayed by this, Bruce wasn't prepared for that because up until this point, he's only had Alfred be 100% nice to him, kind to him. He hasn't experienced being backstabbed or just being betrayed. But at the end, Anton comes back, only for them to find out that Ra's al Ghul is going to be in the next issue. He's joined them to join the League of Assassins.
Okay.
So I'm not because I thought there was a talk about Ra's al Ghul training Bruce back in the day. I'm not sure before he was Batman. And I never read the post-crisis stuff, as far as that, or even before that. So I'm not really sure. But
yeah, that was like some people's complaint is that they said they felt like this was kind kind of rehashing some of that, but sounds like
Yeah.
he may also be adding to it. I guess
So that's the funny thing. That's the Zarsky book that I'm like. The other one, not so much.
Hey,
Uh,
you like what you like.
all right, Void Song. This is the final issue of the 3-issue miniseries with Aquaman and the Flash teaming up, going against an alien invasion. And I gotta say though, it's actually been pretty cool dialogue. And seeing Barry using his smarts, Aquaman is pretty much written as I want to smash and just destroy things. I'm a warrior first. He's not really a clever thinker. Mara, in respects, is the bright one of the family, I guess, when it comes to that intellect. Yeah, this is the alternate cover. This is cover B. This is actually a scene, well, at least a manipulated scene they have in the actual book, where the villains and the heroes are working together to ward off the invasion. This is a Black Label book. This was $7. I actually thought it was pretty cool. I never seen the Flash and Aquaman team up before. I've seen Wally West, I think, team up with Aquaman back in the day, Mark Waid. But yeah, that's the closest I remember to anything like that. Those ever in the issue, but seeing them bicker and seeing them actually working together, I thought that was kind of cool. Despite they're at their ends wits, and we get to see them starting off in a Atlantean rocket ship. Yeah, so which is powered by the Speed Force. I won't spoil anymore, but I will say this: if you're a fan of the Flash, Barry Allen, and you're a fan of Aquaman, and seeing two opposites work together, which is kind of a trope, but it was kind of cool. I'm not really an Aquaman fan, so I got to learn a little bit more Aquaman and stuff and everything about that I may not know. That being said, it's a new book. Things get retcon changed, so what happened back 30 years, 40 years ago may be different what's in this book with Aquaman. But still, this was written by, let me see here. This is Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing, with art by Vasco Georgiev, and the letterer is Troy Buteri. You've read it both ways. All right, and actually that was my number 5. So my number 4, which actually seems to be issue 4 of this. This continues the story. What's left off? We saw people were killed in this, and then revived. More mutants. Beast has gone evil. He's now Dark Beast again. He's teaming up with Sabretooth. And they have their little gala in this. Now, I was like, oh no, they're going to do the gala. The gala was actually okay. All it was is like a 2-page spread where they're celebrating, just being mutants for like a day. It's just to lift the morale of everybody. While other things are going on, and other enemies killed off Gyrick. I think it's Gyrick or Gyrick, the guy, and Trask. They were killed, betrayed by an enemy, and so there's multiple things going on. There is this is the little gala thing going on. It's like Lollapalooza or whatever. Like, even Iceman are doing his little thing in here, creating an ice statue. Deadpool makes another cameo in here. It's only one. He only does one. it's
Who did the colors for that book?
Yeah. This is let me see. Colors is Israel Silva.
Okay.
Writer is Steve Fox. So yeah, when Beast died, was killed. They brought him back to Krakoa, and he came back as Dark Beast. They thought they didn't realize this was Dark Beast, but he acts like Beast, talks like Beast. Now, Eric Breen, I'm seeing that, and you're saying that. Is this going off what's going on in the current X-Men that Hickman created? So everything's changed. This isn't your Claremont X-Men, where they're two different people. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe this will be a different. This won't be Hank. It'll be a different person. But But so basically what the mutants do, they decide to create Asteroid X. That's their new thing, and their new home. Jean Grey is still the Phoenix in here, and it's basically Cyclops or Wolverine is pissed off because of this. Because they basically vote for they basically remember last year Marvel had that thing. They're like, oh, vote for your new X-Men team. In this version, Star lost. She didn't make it on the team. But that so this is your new team right here on the left. It kind of looks like Namor. I'm kind of weirded out, but I'm not sure who it's supposed to be. And then Jean Grey goes Phoenix. Wolverine's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Well, Brian, I can read it because I didn't read the original X-Men. I wasn't a fan of the stuff. I was a fan of the 90s, but not the 80s. It's not. I guess it's not made for you. I guess I don't know what you want me to say. I know it's a crappy answer, but that's all I got.
Crappy answer, but it's all I got.
Yeah, Wolverine actually punches him. Knocks him out because he's like confronts because he says like the Phoenix you can't trust it. Phoenix all it does is destroy, but Jean's like, oh, I'm here to create stuff. Madam Web joins a secret little Illuminati on the X-Men thing. And just yeah. Also, at the end here, it looks like I'm not sure who this is supposed to be, but it looks like Arlen Zola. I'm not sure who, I guess, but he's basically like he's gonna do in this version he's gonna be doing leading the extermination of the mutants because he chose to do the Sentinel program, take it over for his own gains. Also,
Trask.
Trask, I don't know. Trask was a person. I didn't know he was a robot.
Oh, I thought that was just a person's head like being shown on the screen of a Sentinel.
They weren't really. They didn't really say who what. I mean, here. Here. It says time and again, Orcus has fallen short. Your failures cost me much of my life's work, my physical body, and Eureka, sweet innocent Eureka. So I'm not sure who that's supposed to be.
Okay. Oh, but they said it was Orcus.
Well, yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Maybe it's this book's version of Killian Devo. Maybe.
Yeah. And Eric, you call it garbage, but Hickman. If you remember this, Hickman actually in his story when he relaunched the X-Men, it's a different title universe. This is one of several universes that was created by, instead of being Memorial Taggart, it's created by Jubilee.
So what he's saying, Breen, is one man's trash is another man's garbage. Or treasure, sorry. He mixed that one up.
Well, Claremont left, though. As far as I know, with Jim Lee, I've only read like a couple issues of the 90s, and I like that. So I didn't read all the way through, so... But I didn't care for the Brood Saga. To me, it was boring. We got one issue I read with Wolverine going around and by himself. But other than that, it's just a snooze fest for me. I know. I know.
Reader. What do I know? I'm just an indie reader.
I'm going that way. But no, but each your own. Though. People like the Claremont stuff. Ash loves it. I could never get into the X-Men. I'm not going to say it's horrible. I'm just saying it wasn't appealing to me. All right, my number 3 is Immortal Red Sonja. The humor is keeping with this, and then these covers are just getting more and more towards Zach's appealing. Zach likes the booty. And this is the only copy they had. I was forced to freaking take it. If you notice on the cover, Pixel put a dot over it so we wouldn't get copyright claim or not. I guess not copyright claim, but they basically want to censor it. He's actually gotten it before, where they actually told him to take the thumbnail down because it was for nudity. It was a Red Sonja book. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, I have 5 senses. Sorry, thank you very much. Just because you don't agree with me doesn't mean I have 1 sense left.
He said Bankman has 4 senses. Breen is hilarious.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, this has actually been a fun issue. In a search for Merlin, she's working with Lancelot, who basically have amnesia. Meanwhile, while King Arthur, who is spirit trapped in the chainmail, and just basically he's like it's almost like a Deadpool. Basically, gives her the wrong answers. So it makes I'm still wondering, is just even really King Arthur in there at this point? Because he says one thing, and then either she's just bullhead and just goes ahead without listening to him, or he's just purposely withholding information because he doesn't like her. They're going to this lake, this enchanted lake. So basically, the water there that would restore it. Basically, it's supposed to cure you of any of evil ailments, magical ailments, And then we get the cheesecake. But they cover it up though. Yeah.
Covered cheesecake. Cheesecake with no whipped cream.
No whipped cream. Nope. It's not a Marvel book. Early Marvel.
Doesn't have nipples?
It's covered up, so you can't see it. Her hair is always in the way.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So see the one in the top left on my screen, that was like some Liefeld type stuff, because she would have to be in a swinging motion to where her breasts swung over enough for that side of
her hair. Her hair ironically stays in the same spot when she swings.
Okay, so she's like Medusa from the Inhumans. I gotcha. Nice. But does the carpet match the drapes? That's what
many people want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
They want to know, does she have drapes?
Oh, she could have wood floors or linoleum. I got you, sir. Slippery when wet.
For those who read the Jennifer Blood story by Stephen Grant, where these characters were killed, now they're getting their own comic book for some reason.
Oh, that's what those were.
By the same man who butchered the current series.
Oh dang, you're not a Fred Van Lente fan?
I am when he's not writing Jennifer Blood.
Okay.
Jennifer Blood was set up by two Punisher writers who write adult mech stories, violent stories, and the last thing he did, he's just basically, it's like, here, why don't you write Jennifer Blood? But I've never read it. That's all right. Just write it. Okay. And yeah, that's how it pretty much went by. I was like, it was kind of insulting to read because it was not even Jennifer Blood. It was someone who never would take up the mantle. And I hate the fact they're calling it mantle. Even see, Dynamite did their own crappy mantle thing. Yeah. But no, I've been liking this. Been liking the violence in here. Been liking the comedy. It's an engaging story. It takes place during the medieval times, I guess. I guess Hyrcania times, was around during the 15th to 14th century, whatever King Arthur was, for this purpose. But all right, down to the last two. The Flash. Really enjoying this. This has actually been a really good story so far, and even actually the artist covers. He actually draws John Wesley Shipp as we can't really. It's not going to focus in, but as Jay Garrick in here. It's for those who hate multiverse. Warning: this may not be for you. Jeremy Adams continues, knocks it out of the park. This is 785. I'm not sure what they're just going with legacy numbers now for some reason. They didn't give you the actual issue number. It went from 88 to it jumped 20. I was like, what the hell? But the art's been pretty good in this. Linda comes in and actually saves Wally from Barry. Lou Barry, who thinks that Wally is because he's on a little prison world. This is a tying into Dark Crisis. For those who are reading Dark Crisis, I won't say much, but at the end, let's just say that we learn a lot, especially the last issue. We learn that the Justice League are still alive with their own little prison worlds, and Barry's going to go after them. He's going to go save them one by one. I don't know how he's going to do that, but the Flash is able. There's at least in the Jeremy Adams in the run. He's been able to run through two different multiverses. So that's why it's number 2. I've been enjoying it. It's really been fun. Then my best book of the week is a book that just continues to be better and better. and it's by a guy that most people hate. And that is Mark Waid's Batman Superman. World's Finest 6. Nice. And I got the Terry Dodson cover. Yeah, even though Batgirl's not in it, Batgirl's not even in this issue. It's all about Robin. Them going to find Robin. And Batman Superman.
Supergirl in the issue?
I believe in the very beginning. I know she was last issue. Actually, she's not. Now that I think about it, though. But this book does give you nips, though. It gives you a Superman nips. So if you like shirtless Superman for the ladies, I'm not going to show it on here because I don't want to cause anybody to get hot and bothered. But deals with time travel, deals with a circus, deals with Robin, reminiscing about this being, a circus performer. Robin, a solo, basically. You remember in the back of the books, we get those Robin stories where Robin would solve a crime by himself. Mm-hmm. That's what he's doing in this book. Although there is one thing I do have to point out that they messed up on this, and I'll get to it. Let me get the page out, and that's right here, where my finger is. Hey, girl, stay. That's a male lion. Batman does it too. Batman calls it a girl lion when it's a male lion. That is not a girl lion. The fact that Robin would just misgender a lion like that after working in with the lion, and then Batman says too, yeah, you're only going to agitate her. Somebody dropped the ball on this as far as misgendering animals. They usually don't care, but I was like, that was really dumb. That was, I mean, but I liked it though. This was actually, other than that, fun story. It's cool to see a young Dick Grayson Robin solving his own crime, and then being towards the end being helped out by Bruce and Clark. So yeah, so that's my best for the week. A quick read off. I think the only ones coming off their books here is Undead Quinn. Undead Quinn. I think you had a number 5. Let me scroll up. Maybe you didn't. His number 4 was Chilling Adventures presents Jinx's Grim Fairy Tales number 1. Which he posted that twice. His number 3 is Fortnite Marvel Zero number 3. Basic fun story. Not a lot of action in this issue. Well, I hope maybe Zach will feel differently. I'm sure he'll leave his comments down below after the stream. Number 2 is Man Goat and the Bunny Man, Green Eggs and Blam. That sounds funny. This Uniscope book. Fun, impactful story that leaves you some emotional parts. So that's he's number 2. He hasn't given number 1 yet. So, but Skip, I'll let you go with your books.
Alrighty then. Hey everybody, I'm on the Jumbotron. I'm on the big screen.
The Titantron.
Titantron.
Get your microphone out. You gotta sell it. The wrestling reference.
First of all, just want everybody to know this was all Vince McMahon's fault. Him and RDV. These two jabronis thought that they could corner me to get me to talk about good comics. Now
that's right, Skip. Done. It was me all along.
It was me, Skip. It was me all along. I think my favorite one is still when Vince McMahon had broken his leg and he was in the hospital.
The butt pan.
All right, doctor, you want to? Thanks, doctor. I've taken care of what I need to. Well, I'll take it over from here, nurse. And it was stone cold. Yeah, in the bed.
You can tell right away, even with the mask up. It's like
I mean, as soon as he said something, he's got that thick Texas accent. Oh, I'll take it over from here, nurse.
Wasn't Mankind in there with the clown and stuff? And wasn't he the balloon stuff?
No, not
was
that
it,
one.
Or was it? Yeah, there was another one though. I remember.
Yeah, that was a different one. All right, first and foremost, we'll deal with some back issues. Shout out to Nalo because he's a gentleman and a scholar, and he hooked me up with some.
That's cool.
Back issues, yeah.
Nice.
Heck of a, it was, man, it was like a month-long process to try to get this stuff to me, but it's a story for another stream.
Breen just gives
But
me the ones that he doesn't want.
oh,
All the pain.
that's sweet too. That Breen, he's a real sweetheart, isn't he? He's a criminal and a scoundrel, but a sweetheart of a man. So
He's
I
a
got
delicate flower too. Okay.
he's a delicate flower.
Ooh,
I
mindset.
got Mindset issue number 1, the
25. Nice.
Tom Mueller variant.
Yeah, it's a 1 in 25.
1 in 25 for sure.
For
Wait,
$10, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, not bad.
Well, maybe because it's only indie, but I mean, a lot of the 1 in 25s of my year, they're Marvel or DC, they're like 15 to $20.
Yeah, they can really get up there. But Nalo and I enjoy this Mindset series, and we're both fans of Tom Mueller's graphic design. Another thing that doesn't get praised enough in comics. I like letters and graphic designers, and Mueller is one of the best. A lot of people know him from helping redesign this Krakoan era of X-Men, so all of that, like that masthead and those graphics and stuff, Mueller helped create. And he did a line of he usually does a line of variant covers for some of the X books and stuff as well when they have number 1 issues. And then also he got me a 1 in 75 Mindset, and this one is Jacob Phillips from Ed Brubaker, Sean Phillips.
Nice.
Work. Jacob Phillips is Sean Phillips' son. He himself is an artist in his own right. Pretty solid painter. Really good with lines. Just don't read Newburn. And he did this cover right here, and this was like our favorite cover from it. So he hooked me up.
$30 for 1 in 75. Doesn't now? Is that because it's a 1 in 25 is more valuable than a 1 in 25?
Correct. Yeah, because it's more rare. Out of every 25 issues of Mindset that you buy, you can get a Mueller, but you have to buy at least 75 issues of Mindset in order to get this cover.
I don't know why, but my mind did like they're only printing 25 issues. The 1 in 25 would be worth more.
No, not quite how numbers work, but
I know.
I like the effort.
All right.
Give it an A for effort. So outside of that, I'll just jump straight into the books that I bought and read. While you were going through your books, I did end up reading New Things.
I kind of figured you were.
Yeah, I was like, I might as well go off screen and actually.
I gave you enough time. You pulled an RDV while I'm talking. You're just reading comic books.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, that's a skip first. That's what I used to do when you and Ash were in Ash's server just chatting it up. I was like, you know what? This is a good opportunity to get on my exercise bike and knock out a few.
And I took all the flack from Ash.
See? But it was me, Ash. It was me all along. So, Greg Hurwitz, and this was Killian Grant on this issue. And these books are, I like them because I don't want to say they're not a story because they are a story, and I can't say that they don't have a plot either, but these books are a lot more of a statement than they are, and I will say this, they're a lot more of a narrative than they are a traditional story / story arc. So, Greg Hurwitz will use, you can say proxies, or if you want to say things that are synonymous to his subject in order to get his point across. In this case, New Think, it's mostly about how, the old quote that supposedly came from Einstein. I'm not sure that it actually did. You might want to check Snopes or something, but he said our technology has surpassed our humanity. And that's pretty much like Greg Horwitz's thesis statement with this book. So I like the narrative. It's not a traditional story. I enjoyed the art in this one. Every issue, the art changes. I actually didn't get a chance to read number 2. I read number 1 and jumped straight to number 3 because for whatever reason, my shop never got number 2. And I was supposed to get it on digital. But I got sick. I was burning through comics like at a fantastic rate, like reading about 7 a day, which is good for me. I got sick, and then I didn't read any except for like my pull list for like 2 weeks. So I got to get back on it. But anyway, we jump over to Firepower issue number, you tell me, 23. That's a good number. This one, they're fighting the dragon. They're fighting a dragon. You know, I think I think I gave this one a 4 stars. I was close to giving it a 3 because it didn't move the plot along a whole heck of a lot, but it did give us a lot of action and great scenes and fantastic art and some yeah, I mean, in a way, this, they were getting ready to fight a dragon, so how much more are you going to move the plot along when you're fighting a dragon? Like, they gave the whole issue to the fight. And as far as like the story is concerned, I kind of don't want to dock them because we don't get enough of that in from the big two. But at the same time, I think I wanted a little bit more plot development, and it's not that the plot doesn't develop at all. It's just it doesn't develop very much. But the art from the fight scenes is awesome. I think it was a little less smooth from a sequential art side of things this time, which is uncharacteristic of Somni because usually he's really excellent at that. But I think some of the storytelling fell by the wayside for some really great action. So I ended up giving it a 4 stars because it's hard to give Chris Samney and Robert Kirkman, Matt Wilson and Russ Wooten anything less. But yeah, it was good, and hey, it was quick. So I gotta give them credit for not wasting too much of my time either, or not wasting any of my time, I should say.
That's what Iris said.
That's what Iris said.
Or
I think that's
Flash.
a Flash. I was gonna say I think that's a Flash joke for someone who knows so little about the Flash world. But I know a little bit about Nita Haas' Nightmare blog, and issue number 7 is back. As we had talked about on the Top 5 Comics show from a few days ago, Simon Kodransky, who is the artist of Town Called Terror,
Yep.
is also the artist on this. And since people were raving about that, and that's getting some pretty good marks right now, I figure, hey, keep the good times rolling and jump over into Nita Haas' Nightmare blog. If you haven't been reading the series, it is a good idea to knock out the first trade. And he is the artist in, I think, half of the issues in the first trade. The other artist is Well B, who is another really awesome artist. Similar to style to Jason Sean Alexander, who is a fantastic artist. If you like if you like Mike Perkins, you'll really like Jason Sean Alexander, and vice versa. Very sketchy, kind of gritty, almost kind of a grainy, not really grainy, but it's a really like rusty, or I should say rustic, but it's not rustic. It's rusty.
Wow.
I don't know. Their style is really good. It's fantastic art.
Those of you who love the Walking Dead World Beyond, that is Iris on the cover.
What RDV said, because
Literally, it looks just like the actress.
Yeah, you were saying that the other night.
I never
ended up looking her up. I got
it's burned into my retinas after watching that show because I did a review from it, and I was like, I just continue to watch it because like, oh, they're gonna talk about what happens to Rick, at the end of the walk after you left The Walking Dead, and I was like, all right, let's go. So that was the most annoying actress on the show. That's it.
It's unfortunate.
Yes,
but that cover I had to get. They had pulled me the other cover, which I think is the Jason Sean Alexander cover, and I was like, I can't believe this, but I'm gonna pick Simon Kodransky cover over Jason Sean Alexander.
Kodransky, though, I just love his art. He does. He worked on with Steve Niles on A Town Called Terror, and I think he also did. I think he also might have worked with Steve Niles also on the original. I don't know if he was the artist on 30 Days of Night at all with him, but the guy's art is just mind blowing. We were talking about Paradiso at the very beginning of the stream here tonight, and both artists, just their landscape stuff. Kodransky is basically Kodransky, I don't know. His art when he draws horror is just spot on. It just grab you don't even need to see the dialogue. You're just like, dude, I already know what's gonna happen. He does a sequential art. You're just so involved with the book. It just feels like, dude, I'm in the story. Like, so when I'm reading A Town at Called Terror, I was like, dude, it's like you're reading at nighttime. It's like a horror thing, and so I'm like, probably should turn the light on because it just trips you. It's like it's just that great. It pops up on the page.
It does. It pops up out of the page, and it kind of pulls you in a little bit. For as simple as his art is, it does have this element of like, just like it's compelling. It pulls on you. So yeah, it's really solid, really solid, especially for horror stuff. I feel like he'd be a really good like storyboard artist for like horror movies because his art feels like
Yeah.
yeah, like slasher flick style from
Yep.
like the 80s and stuff like that. Really good.
All right.
Something else that's really good. Now we're getting into my last two books, just like that. Oh man, Do a Power Bomb. I had to get the manga style cover
Yep. That's awesome.
variant. Yo, I gave it 5 stars. I gave it 5 stars. 5 star book here. Man, just Daniel Warren Johnson's art is just so amazing. And then the way that the story's set up and what the dynamics are and the degrees of separation is just like really good and cool. And like the way that he pairs conflict and what's on the line for everybody who's involved, in this wrestling tournament, because that's where they're at now. They're in this like supernatural wrestling tournament that spans the galaxy, and the person that the main protagonist has to team up with, and you know just the revelations about that, and then you take it with who they have to go against and what everybody, or at least what the other team's motivation, the other tag team's motivation is. It's just crazy. And then you take all that and you take Daniel Warren Johnson, who's very obviously like running back the greatest hits of wrestling and like freeze framing stuff and just getting inspiration and recreating it so amazingly. I don't like I want to show you stuff within here, but most of who Daniel Warren Johnson is.
Mhm.
If you're a wrestling fan, or if you ever liked wrestling, even if you're not
Yep.
really into it anymore. If you've ever liked it and you just want a compelling story with some of the best art that money can buy in a non-overpriced comic book,
Yep.
get this book. Like, don't
Yeah. Yeah.
second guess it. Don't second think. Just get the damn book. I gave it 5 stars, and
Yeah.
I really wanted to give it 4 because I'm like, because the other book, my number one book, I gave that 5 stars, and I was like, is it as good as that book? And I'm like, you know what? Just
So
because the other book is a little more dense and this one's a little more straightforward doesn't mean it's not as good. This book really had a hold on me, and so many different things that Daniel Warren Johnson did inside of this book, even laying out how the bracket of the teams that are going to go against each other.
yeah,
It was just awesome.
Undid Quinn's agreeing with you. He says this issue has more action than the last issue, but still builds up the characters. And
So
every
much,
time I see
yeah.
that manga cover, I'm just thinking like Fist of the North Star, Dragon Ball Z, and just like it's when's the video game coming out?
Dude, this should have a like that's so funny because when I got to this issue, and I know it's not going to be a super long comic, but I got to that issue, and I don't often think this, but I thought it. I was like, I need a spin-off comic that spends more time just in this tournament, because they're not going to spend enough time in this tournament with all these different characters, like to I don't want to say not to satisfy
Yeah.
me, but I just want more of it. I really wanted just a spin-off of just the wrestling tournament, because there's a direction that they have to go. That's not the
Mhm.
main storyline. That's just that's the plot. I don't want to say, yeah, I mean, kind of it's like the plot device to get them where they need to
The,
go. It's
the
the
reason
building
I
for that.
the reason I
But
would say
man,
Dragon Ball is because the Dragon Ball had the tournaments. They'd fight in the world
yeah,
tournaments, fighting all different fighters, and then he comes Goku. It's like all the Z fighters. When I got the Dragon Ball Z, that's they did the tournament again. And they had to basically like they couldn't compete because they were just outclassed every single human on the planet.
yeah.
So, so yeah, so that was the first time I watched anything that had to do with anything like kind of fighting in a tournament within an anime or manga. So I was
Yeah.
like, so to see that another person took that idea, changed it a little bit, and made a whole story about kind of like the wrestling stuff. I think that's kind of cool because we've seen like Berserker and some of those other animes and mangas, do this, but that's not a manga. That's just a regular comic book with a manga kind of style theme.
Hmm.
That's what it sounds like, and it's doing its job. It's selling. I mean, it's on the shelf at the big box store. They don't carry a lot of the indie stuff unless it's popular. It's going to sell. And Do a Powerbomb, I've seen it multiple times on the shelf at the release. So it's getting around. But
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, it's incredible. Of course, like for those of you who know Daniel Warren Johnson, he didn't do that cover, someone else did. So the art inside looks different, but
Yeah,
the
yeah,
art inside is like
yeah.
just as good, if not better. Like,
But I mean that cover alone, like it's like I know it's I 9 times out of 10 that's never the interior. We saw that beginning with Dan Slott's She-Hulk in 2004, where the cover is like, oh my gosh, and then the interior is like, whoa, what happened here?
right.
So, but like I said, it sounds like a fun story. I just never got in the idea of having a wrestling comic book just kind of throws me off. It's like because AEW had their own wrestling, WWE had their own wrestling. I was like, I don't need to see like comic books, but that sounds like it's a lot more than just a wrestling. It's actually in like in-depth characters. Characters have their own stories and stuff. World building. See that's crazy. That's your like based on that art right there. You guys doing the back the moonsault.
Yeah.
Just give me a video game. Why don't Capcom characters have their own or any of that? Because we get like with Super Smash Brothers where they have all the stuff. Where's the wrestling? You can include the character from Dual Power Bomb in there too.
Gotta go talk to your best friend Vince McMahon. Maybe make it happen.
Next time he gives me more payment.
Oh, good luck. That'll be never.
Well, I'm one of the people he owes money to.
Get in line, buddy.
It's like,
all right. So, but to be clear, like, well, you know what? I won't even say that. All I gotta say is erase everything else out of your mind when it comes to like wrestling and wrestling stories. Just buy that one. It's Daniel Warren Johnson. Like you're gonna be happy that you bought it.
It'd be one of those games like they have the dialogue pops up like and it just has like the words but there's no sounds for
Book number 1. 5-star comic.
Ash is saying your volume is pretty low. I mean, I turned my volume up, so I mean I can hear you fine. No one else says anything.
Oh,
but,
really? When I listened back, it was good. Maybe I was just too far away from the mic. I did start talking though for a second. I should probably hold on. Let me just turn off my.
You're better than you were last Tuesday. You came out. You were really really quiet.
Yeah, I put a noise gate on so that way like ambient sound doesn't get into my mic that much. But if I'm too far away, if I don't talk loud enough to break through my noise gate, then I'll be quiet or I'll be like severely quiet or not able to.
I've also found it with the boom mics. You know, if you're not directly facing it, you're not as loud. Like if I talk this way, it sounds totally different.
Yeah, it's got the mic pattern to where same thing. Like tries to avoid ambient sounds getting into it. But wait, RDV twice as loud? Well, yeah, then that's the other thing. RDV also just talks really loud, and I don't talk very loud, so there's that also.
Quit harassing my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
RDV is loud. Yeah. See what undid Quinn said. Anyway, number 1 book. Thank you for the audio heads up. Number 1 book, 20th Century Men. It lived up to the hype and some. I was hyping it and off of like the preview pages and off of reading issue number 1 of Agent of World, which Dennis Camp, the writer of this, has going over at Scout Comics. I had only ever read one other issue of any comic that he had read, but it was just so much a cut above everyone else that I was just like, oh yeah, this guy's got the juice. And then I saw preview pages of this and I was like, okay, yeah, and then there's a little bit more depth to him too. But those preview pages don't even do this story justice. And I want to give some love to the artist too, S. Morian. I don't know what the S stands for, but the art, like it reminded me of Decorum. Yeah, like the art changes and goes to various styles multiple times. You jump through different eras as well. And no. Yeah, I was just giving you crap, Ash. That's why I thanked you for letting me know about the volume thing.
And then it is true that I always am loud. I prefer it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm the youngest. I had to scream at the top of my lungs to get food when I was growing up as a kid. Everyone else was just kind of like, so survival of the fittest.
Pretty much.
That's how we win arguments.
The loudest. Yeah.
That's how you win arguments. If you're not the loudest, no one, then you're the quietest, and you kind of like just kind of go away.
Yeah,
I don't know. No.
I guess so.
That's why Karens get everything they want. I'm practicing that.
It's a heck of a teacher to have, a Karen. But yeah, it's hard to really wrap up what this book is without really digging into it and talking about it. But what I can say is, this book spans like eras. It spans like political history and landmarks. It spans, like relationships. It spans, you know, loyalty to one's country in multiple different countries, all to kind of cook up this pressure cooker of like political reasons to start wars, perceived weaknesses of one country in order to go into that country and fight, quote unquote, on their behalf, and a forged relationship from someone who's so hard on the outside and pretty hard on the inside, but has a third layer of where they may be malleable, and someone who's so sweet and soft on the outside that maybe instead of looking at that as a weakness, you should look at that with some caution. All to kind of wrap it up into this story. It's just like
the man gave up his hair for Russia.
His hair? I mean, yeah, man. I mean, like, what did they? Oh, okay. We're going back to the Mohawks again. Is it always the Mohawks?
No. I was just saying, because I read the story too, and he was the scientist, right? That designed the suit. Or did I misread that?
Oh, say that part one more time.
Was he the scientist? Was he the scientist that created the suit?
Was he the scientist that?
Was
yes,
it, okay. No, that was because I said his hair's gone.
Yes, yeah. He was that into it. Yeah, because he was also the dude that was in there on the part about the movie. When they were talking about ideas. But even that, like it's crazy because the book is like it's political, it's philosophical, it's poetic. I mean, like it has everything in a story. I don't know what it didn't use within like the zeitgeist of storytelling at its disposal to create such a compelling story. And it's not gentle with you. Like you hit the ground running. I mean, I'll show you about as gentle as it gets. This is what you get. The very first page. This is as gentle as it gets. It does you a favor. It considers the reader, and it gives you this because this is the only beauty. Well, I don't want to say the only beauty, but this is the only serenity you get in this book. After this page, you are, in the proverbial shit, as they would say, in certain eras of war.
It's very pro-Russia. I got that feeling towards the end there with the president.
Really?
American president?
From it?
Yeah. It was.
That's not what I pulled from it, but well, I'll say this.
It's from this character because the character's Russian. It's from a Russian point of view. He hates war.
I think that's more accurate. I think that's really what it is. I mean, we're Americanized people. I mean, for us who live in America, we're a lot more used to Top Gun style perspectives than we are. Shoot, even the perspective of like a Full Metal Jacket. You know what I mean? Like even that was so shocking because it wasn't quite so pro-American war is good. It's not that. It's not really that. It's not pro-Russia. It's not. I mean, I don't know what it is pro. It really just seems like it's a cautionary tale. For a more interesting perspective, the main character is Russian, but I can't really say it's this isn't a Russia propaganda book.
No. I'm just saying there's a lot of Russia references in there because
well, yeah, because I mean, that's like watching a kung fu movie that was filmed in China and being like, "There's a lot of China references."
Well, it's like, not only that, they made the American president look very, very crazy. Compared because in 1987, Cold War. I guess that was the height of the Cold War.
Yeah.
Yeah. Afghanistan. Yes.
Yeah, but like, yeah, all of them were crazy.
Yeah.
Everybody was crazy. It was a crazy time. But also think about it though. Like we have the perspective that we have about our country.
Yeah.
But like that's why I like people like Evil Black Cat coming in and like Tehillim coming in. You know, like they'll come in and they give us a different perspective, and for us, it wakes us up. It's like, oh yeah.
So you're anti-American. That's what it is. You're pro other countries' viewpoints on us.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
California is a country. Why do you think I'm wearing this hat, man? We're seceded. I'm pro-California, anti-USA. You didn't know?
Wow.
You better ask somebody. Hey, or you better ask somebody. What's up, Ash?
What's going on? Someone threw me an invite.
I thought that was your dog with the water bowl at first. That was you eating.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Had a gummy bear in my mouth.
Oh, that's what it was like.
My apologies.
Lapping of water.
It was not very professional.
It's all right. We're just a bunch of amateurs anyway. You're in good company. How's it going, Ash?
Going pretty good. Pretty good. I got 20th Century Men, but I wasn't able to actually get the copy because for some reason my store didn't even order a single copy of the book.
Oh.
And I was like, are you kidding me? It's a #1 issue from Image Comics. Like, at least order a couple. I'd understand if you said, oh, we sold out, but not even order any. I was like, man. But one of the sister locations ordered it, and so it's going to be inner shop transfer, whatever. You know how they do that. And so next week I'll be able to pick it up. But I did get to read it. In fact, I even recorded a review, which I'll be posting here shortly.
Nice.
Really interesting book. I don't even know what to think about it, really. Like,
it was a heavy pill for me to swallow going through. As far as there's a lot to digest.
Oh, very much
yes.
so. Like this is a dense,
heavy. I read through it twice.
This is going to be a book I think that will appeal to some people very highly. Like it'll be like a 5-star. Like this is amazing, and I think a lot of people will just be like, nope.
It's not my wheelhouse. So it was kind of like I was reading. I was like, I'm not sure if I like this or if I hate it. I'm at the point where like it's kind of like there's things I like and there's things are like, okay, that's kind of cool. But I was like, then it goes back up. It's like seismograph.
I would expect that this is not. And like when I was reading it the whole time, I was like, oh, this feels like Skip would like it. RDV would hate it. Zach would probably hate it. But maybe not. Sometimes people, their tastes surprise me. I enjoyed it. I think it's also very dependent on where this goes, because
True.
The book does not reveal where it's going. It gives you some hints and says, "Here's some interesting things we're putting out there." Where it goes from here, who knows? And if it goes in cool places, I'll be along for the ride. And if it goes off a cliff, well, that's never a good thing.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Like after I closed it and then I decided how I felt about it, then that was naturally the next thing I thought of. Like, and then of course I split them because, you know, I was immediately like, okay, the quality of it. I was like, this thing's gonna be up for awards. So I thought about how the critics would look at it, and then I thought about how just like the average reader would think about it, and yeah, like for the critics, I already know it's gonna be a darling. Like I already know. But
yeah, it very much reads like a critical darling, and worth it too. Not one of those like, oh, it's a pretentious writer.
Right.
This does not feel like a pretender trying to copy. When I was reading it the whole time, I was like, man, this feels like the way I'm reading this. This feels like the great comics. Like this feels like the way you felt when you read Watchmen or something. Like it's a heavy book that really makes you think about what you're reading. It never holds your hand. There was times where I had to like flip back and be like, what did I just read? Like, and I was like trying to really digest and make sure I understood what the writer was trying to convey. And even then there's parts of the book, like I still do not understand that opening sequence in Vietnam. I have no idea what that's about.
I would like to discuss that when we have some time.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't want to give it right here, but yeah.
Okay, cool. Because I left thinking, okay, this is something that will be explained in future issues. Like this is setup that will be answered later, and I was fine with that. But I was just like, man, there's a lot of things here. There's just so much. I really do like the writer's voice. That was something I came away with, and that's a big deal for me. Is how the writer, how their voice sounds. It's one of the biggest reasons I love Frank Miller. Is just his words feel like poetry to me.
Yeah.
Even if the story is not the most exciting story, I just love how he conveys it. Certain writers do that. This writer had a similar quality to me as well. And that opening scene where one of the main characters, when he's a boy, what's his name? Peter.
Something of
yeah.
It sounds terrible.
He become, well, I don't want to spoil anything, but the story with the boy and his mom and how the Soviet military comes and takes him away and stuff. It was just masterfully done. I was like, this is how great comics are.
Absolutely. So it's where is it at? Platonov.
That's
Platonov. Yeah. But like, man, yeah, just that scene. I mean, I'll put this in because it's early and it doesn't spoil a lot, but like here comes, the state, like Russia coming in and, like looking for gifted people. And, his mom's trying to protect him. And he says, finally, after her trying to protect him and they're putting in the heat, he says, Mama, I will go. And she says, no, you'll die. And he says, I won't. And she says, then you'll kill. Dude, just that alone, I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, and she's got like tears coming because she's like looking at him and she's on her knees like looking into his eyes at his level. Yeah. And she just starts crying. She's like, and then you'll die, or then you'll kill. Yeah. And his face, like he doesn't understand because he's an innocent child. He has no idea.
Yeah. He's just trying to like get the heat off of his mom. And she's sitting there knowing that his life goes either one of two ways now. You are either going to be killed, you're going to kill, or you're going to be killed. And in either way, your innocence and your innocence is going to be taken from you. You'll never be the same again. And that's that's within the first like 6 pages.
That was accomplished in like that, and that whole scene was like 1 page.
Yeah, it wasn't
so
even
excellent.
A lot of real estate.
So much story in that. That when I read that scene, I was like, I just kind of knew where things were gonna go and how that statement and that like you just know this character is gonna lose his innocence. He is gonna have to kill. That's the only way you're going to possibly survive the Soviet state. The military is taking you away. You can't just be like, nope, I'm a non-compliance. And the Soviets like, all right, well, then go to the gulag and die.
Right.
Right. It's like, it's not like the United States. And his mom knew that. His mom was it's just like, oh, man, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Kill or be killed. That's all that is. But yeah. I will say a quick thing that, that I think you'll be able to catch. So you were talking about Vietnam. And that happened earlier on. So to reference that, to get an idea of who it is and what it was and what it meant, go all the way back to the second to last scene where it's the president talking to that scientist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll talk more about it later. But okay. Anyhow, yeah, it's got, and like the effect of that scene and what Ash and I just described, that happens at least like 6 more times in the book where you just get down to like the heart of the matter and these moments where things will never be the same for those people that are there in that moment. You know what I mean? Like making decisions and getting down to brass tacks. Like, and I think that's what it is because I don't want to say there's just 2 parts to the story, but if I oversimplify it, we got 2 parts. You have like this mass scale that gets built up within the world of the book where you are spanning decades and you're spanning like, geopolitics and the politics of war and all of that stuff. So being that you're going through eras and you're involving multiple countries and, parts of history that, that are familiar to us just in our, with the amount of information we have at our fingertips, what we've learned and then what we've lived through, you span all that, but then you also scope down into a smaller story where it continues to be about just that boy, his experiences, the love that he's lost and the opportunity for love where he is now in his life, where it's harder to love, and what happens in the midst of that opportunity. You know, there something happens in the midst of that, and that can only spell, you know, really, I mean, it could spell a few things maybe, but I think it could only spell one thing. I think the other thing that the other benefit of this story is it's only going to be 3 issues. So not that it can't fall apart.
Wait, what?
You know, yeah, it's only 3 issues.
Oh man.
Yeah, but you know, for a
took
story
the wind
like,
out of my sails.
I know, and you know, and when I looked at it, like I kind of thought the same thing too, but once I read it, like how dense this book is, I think it can only get watered down if it goes on for too long. I think it needs to remain concentrated and strong and pungent in order for it to really have like its fullest and purest effect. I think if you let it go on for too long, it'll just become diluted. In my personal opinion, thinking about it after.
Sure. I mean, I don't know what the intent of the story is, so having not seen the final product. Obviously, if the story is only designed for 3 issues and they stretched it out for 30, that would dilute it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just kind of hoping that the intent was from the get-go a very involved story, you know, because when I was reading this, I mean, I get so many, I don't want to say references, but I feel so many similarities to some of the great books that I've read.
I agree.
Alan Moore. There was very much parts that were reminding me of Alan Moore. There was a couple parts that were kind of a little Frank Miller-ish. There was
there's some Grant Morrison in there.
There was some Grant Morrison, but there was also some strong similarities to the things I liked about East of West.
Yeah.
So Hickman. So and I don't feel like the writer ever copied anyone, but there were just kind of notes that I just kind of my brain got reminded of as I was reading it, and to the Hickman reference, the East of West, like I was like, man, what if this was like a nice meaty story for 45 issues like that of these characters, and it's like, oh, I'm like, and I was like, I don't know if this is a miniseries or not, but I'm just gonna jump on and see where this goes because that's what he's in, and I'm like, oh, 3 issues, oh. That's it. The train ride's too short.
Yeah, yeah. It's more like a county fair ride than it is a train ride. Yeah, and I think the other thing that occurred to me too, because he's a very new writer. Like when I looked him up, even just in League of Comic Geek, he did not have a lot of stuff out there. Like a lot of single issues, anthology stories, and even just this series, you know, like I said, I read Agent of World after hearing Rock and Robbie Billups talk about it so much on Pop Culture Philosopher's channel. Joe Corallo goes over on that channel a lot, and I tend to share a lot of the same tastes as Rock and Robbie. So usually when he recommends a book, I'll get on it, and I'm like, it's on my radar. But then I saw a bunch of pros talking about it, and I'm like, okay, they're talking them up, and sometimes, you know, pros will talk up pros just because they're friends. But I saw W. Maxwell Prince talk it up, the author of Ice Cream Man, which is my favorite book. So I was like, between Rock and Robbie Billups and, you know, W. Maxwell Prince, I'm definitely checking this out. But I wanted to prime myself, and I said, that's when I looked up his series. I said, okay, what else can I read from this guy? I want to read a trade of his before this comes out, so I kind of know a little bit of what his headspace is and what his voice is, to Ash's point. And there wasn't a lot, but there was Agent of World, and I was like, okay, well, this is the most accessible thing that I can find. Let me just grab this and read this. And then I read it, and I felt like you did, Ash, like, because this is your first time reading anything by him, right?
Right.
The same thing for you, RDV. This is your first time reading anything from Dennis Camp?
Yep.
Okay, so the way that y'all kind of describe how you felt reading this, that's how I felt the first time when I read Agent of World, because I never read any of his stuff before, and I was like, first few pages, I read a little bit, and then I put it down, and I'm like, I don't know. I was like, but I got to get through this book. So I think it was the next day, picked it up, started reading through, and then I'm like, okay, I got momentum now, so I can keep going. I got halfway through, and I was like, okay, the art's good, and this writing is definitely not bad. It's not bad, but I don't know where this dude is going. And then I got like 2 more pages in, and I was like, okay, this is like when I first read Ice Cream Man the first time. I know where this guy's going now. I'm in. And then when I got to the end of it, I was like, this dude is one of the he's next up. He's one of the guys that's next up. Like there was just I got all the references to like other writers, all the influences like Ash said, but it didn't feel like he was like deliberately copying anybody, but just his imagination, how far out he thought, but still like bringing it all home, because you can start getting out into the the ether with things, and there's plenty of people who are like really smart but scatterbrained and can't bring it all back home to make it cohesive and make it make sense. But he did that, and I was like, okay. So then when I read this one and he did the same thing again, I was like, okay, all right, like I'm gonna start calling it early. But the biggest thing with like the 3-issue thing, it's like he's never really had a successful series to where I think an editor could, they couldn't look their boss in the eye and be like, hey, yeah, I gave this dude who's never had a 12-issue mini, I gave him I gave him 40 issues or 44 issues or whatever. I just don't think they can justify it right now.
Yeah, as you say that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing for Jonathan Hickman to command a 45-issue East-West run.
Right.
For this guy who's no one's heard of his name outside of a few real strong enthusiasts,
Mm-hmm.
To command my store didn't even order a copy of #1, right? So it would be bad to be so ambitious and then get cut off at the knees because you didn't sell because no one knew what you were. So I guess it's probably is better to do a 3-issue run, get out there, let people sample the work. Perhaps if you've got more ideas, do a continuation follow-up series or whatever. Yeah, I mean, even Rom V didn't start off, doing Detective Comics. He did a Vault book and different, some of these other obscure books that we're kind of going back now, going like, "Ooh, what did he do?"
Yeah.
But so yeah,
that's awesome.
I just liked it a lot. I just want more. That's I guess my disappointment's not due to anything other than you kind of sold me. Like,
yeah,
I was the same way while I was reading it. I can't judge the book and say, "Oh, this is going to be an all-time great book," because I've only read the first chapter.
Right.
But it definitely felt like the qualities that a great book has.
Mm-hmm.
When you go back, you're just like, oh, this is not an amateur writer. Like, this is a guy who knows his craft.
Yeah. Yeah, it really felt like that. And I watched an interview with him and Rockin' Robbie, and he was talking about this book. He wasn't talking about, Agent of World came up a little bit, but he was talking about how much research he did for this. And just the way that he was talking about it, I try to not, you take it with a grain of salt, but at the same time, I was just like, he's way too enthusiastic, and he is like, he was even running on a bit, like about the mouth of like some of the things that he looked up, and I was just like, not only is he extremely, like, he's not just selling me, he's extremely excited and passionate, and he's like extremely knowledgeable about it. Like, he's rifling things off the top of his head. It kind of reminded me of like Joe Corallo when you watch him do like retrospective videos with Breen, and even Breen too. Like, these guys that can just pull out like, and you too sometimes, Ash, like if it comes to like X-Men books, you can just like pull out issue numbers and be like, oh yeah, this issue and like this year when this person did this thing. He was doing that, but with like history, and then like talking about how like it tied in together. And I was like, okay, now this dude is not like, he's not doing a little Wikipedia search and just being done with it. Like, he's compiling notes. He's like the guy from that one show where it's got all the yarn connected on the board. He's like, he's like that about it. So it's interesting. Undead Quinn says they Dennis Camp, they got him doing a Bloodshot Unleashed #1. I think like just reading the 2 issues that I've read of him, I think Bloodshot is a very, very good character for them to give. I just wish that Valiant was in a better state right now. I don't know if he'll be able to finish the series.
Seriously, like the ship is sinking, and it's like, here we got this great writer. Like, you're like, a little too late.
Like, Dennis Camp, you're our only hope. They're making this guy Obi-Wan now.
Yeah, Undead Quinn saying he likes dense reads, so he's probably gonna check out the 20th Century Man. And I guess he's gonna do Bloodshot Unleashed #1.
Yep, that's what we were
Yeah,
just saying. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. John Davis Hunt
Art,
art too.
yeah,
Okay. Mm. I
nice.
mean, I'm gonna grab it. I mean, like this is what this is what happens. I know we talk a lot about like the big two and this and that, and even like some indie publishers like IDW and Valiant that like fumble the bag. But this is what I'm talking about. If you go out there and you simply just get talent, you just get talented people that have stories to tell. I will go from looking at you like a joke and ignoring you to giving you my hard-earned money because you're showing me competency. So I have no problem giving Valiant $4 because because they went and got talent instead of just people to throw money at that's cheap labor just to do a book. It happens to be that he can't charge a whole heck of a lot for a rate right now because he's new. So I look at it like, getting a top, 5 draft pick on a rookie scale contract, but still it's competent GMing, it's competent general managing, and I will give you $4, Valiant. If the editing is good and the product is good, I will tell other people, hey, it's safe to give Valiant $4 again for this book. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that artist by name, but absolutely, from what I've read here, if the art is solid, I could just say, yeah, for sure. I mean, Bloodshot's a solid character. This is a serious writer. I'd be very curious to see what he did. It sucks that Valiant it's fallen so far that I'm just like, I don't care about Valiant anymore. But I could definitely recommend to people that here you go. This is legit.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I hope I believe he's in the position, excuse me, right now after this issue number 1, where it's not that he has to do more to hook me personally. I'm at the point where I'm saying it's his to fumble. The ball is in his court. He's running the offense, and if he fumbles it, if he drops it, then that's on him. But as of right now, he got a damn good start going. And this series, this 3-issue series that he's got going right now, this is his to screw up. He's got the advantage right now.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be a good idea, or the comic book industry get their act together. But in a better world, if Marvel and DC were treating these indie companies as like farm leagues, kind of the way like Ram V that he came up. He started off, I think, at Vault.
Vault was one of his early books. Yeah, there was another publisher right before that because he had done that Brigands book, and he self-published too.
Oh, okay. I thought Brigands was Vault. I guess I was wrong.
It might be. I'll double check. You might be right.
But he started. He started Vault's a small publisher, and then he went up into Image, and then got a couple of little books at DC, kind of test the waters. He came over on Justice League Dark, and just started showing that he could work in the big leagues, which is not hard today's day and age. But now he's on one of the premier books, and he's just quickly making it. He's going to be a superstar, mainstream superstar shortly. It's not going to take long. Detective Comics is going to get his name out.
Absolutely. Brigands was Action Labs.
Oh, Action Labs.
Sounds like Action Figure toy line. Action Labs. Now we have Action Man.
Yeah, Action Labs gotten a little bit of heat for how they were distributing payments to creators. So, but no, I agree. That I don't feel like they do that enough for these ones. And I heard I heard Jim Lee make a comment like, you're at DC, you're not really on the radar until you work at DC. Like even if you've worked at Marvel before, but. I mean, I like if that's the publisher's way of looking at it, that's sad. But obviously his editors are not completely looking at it like that because Ram V is doing good indie work. He's doing stuff over at Marvel, and they're bringing him over. He did start there, and they did kind of look out for him to make some noise, and they brought him up, but. It's just they're not utilizing it they're not utilizing indies to their full capacity like Ash said. And if they did, then that maybe they wouldn't throw so many people that aren't ready for more a spotlight into the spotlight so quick, just for them to fizzle out and not get like the proper training from like good editors and stuff like that to mold them into better writers and storytellers and such. But this guy Dennis Camp, I mean, he's doing this right now with where he's at here. So just as long as he isn't taking bad advice and he continues to, work on his craft, he really focuses on not just starting strong but finishing strong too. He's got a very bright future ahead of him.
That's ironic, that statement coming from Jim Lee, considering like DC drooled over him for years. They wanted him so bad, right, when he was at Marvel, and he almost didn't go to Image. Like, he was kind of a last minute thing with the Image, and then sure enough, he was only at Image for like 4 years, and then they bought his whole company just to get him. Like that's how much DC was in the Jim Lee business. So the idea of like, you're not on our radar until you've come to DC, is like BS. BS, DC. Right. Come on, and Jim Lee, you're the last person that should be trying to sell us that line. But that is a line that they used to kind of hold. That was like the DC arrogance from back in the day. Back in the day when they had the friendly rivalry between them and Marvel in a bygone era. But these days, when all the big talent is really outside of Marvel and DC, you shouldn't be saying stuff like that anymore.
Yep. But what do we know? Yeah.
I mean, you're lucky to have someone like Ram V. He's gonna use Detective Comics and whatever big titles you have at DC, and he's gonna right there for several years, probably get all in the mainstream. And then he's going to become another Brian K. Vaughan, another, what have you, Rick Remender, all the big name writers that are like that DC doesn't want to pay for anymore. And people will be like, I'll follow Ram V anywhere, because now they know. And the problem is it's hard to get your footing in the indie books because people aren't willing to try and pick up these, how many people went out and picked up these Savage Shores? A few enthusiasts did. But the mainstream, like, they're really right. But now you take, Brian K. Vaughan, essentially any book that he does, people are like, what? Brian K. Vaughan's got a new book? He just sells it on his name.
How many people went out and picked up Paradiso Volume 1?
Yeah. Man, it's so stuffed up. I want to reread. I got to reread it again soon.
It is a fun book. I wanted to continue going on and on and on and on and on. And in order for that to happen, Ram V needs leave DC Comics.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, the great thing about writers is, unless you sign exclusives, the great thing about writers is they can do both.
Yes.
Most artists can only manage one book. So whatever they're on. But a writer can often write a few different stories at a time, or just keep stuff in their back pocket until they find the perfect artist to do it and dump it out there. So, Tynan was doing really well for himself. He keeps one foot in the DC door, and then his other foot over at his his indie stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's kind of like all the big Hollywood stars, right? If you're a big Hollywood star, you got to do the popcorn flicks, and then you do your Academy Award winning type films. But you can't just do the Academy Award winners. You'll drop off the radar. The normies have to pay attention to you.
Yep. You got to pay your bills, and then you gotta do your passion projects. Yeah. So yeah, you gotta diversify like that these days. But yeah, Undead Quinn, definitely a dense story, and I think I know you're up for the challenge, and I also believe that that you'll be satisfied. At least I hope. I really hope.
Also, Ash, if you find the physical trade, it's $10.
I have all the floppies.
Yeah, but you don't have the nice trade.
Oh, that's true. I don't have the nice trade.
I got to try to find one of the trades. I definitely want one.
I'll sell it to you for $20. I'll make $10 in return.
He's just going to want to borrow it. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I'm going to borrow it.
I have actually thought about picking it up in trade because I don't want to hunt down the floppies for all his other books. Like, I really love Layla's Star, but finding all 5 issues, and again, he's not the type, like, some of these books aren't ones that I just have to have floppies for. I tend to like to get floppies for ongoing series because I just enjoy collecting. I like being able to look back, 5 or 6 years down the road and see, like, oh, I remember when I started with just one issue and look how it's built. And I just like seeing that collection grow. But with miniseries, I don't have that same thing. I just really want to read the story, and if you can put it in one volume, so be it. I can't even tell you how happy I am that Ed Brubaker got out of the floppy business, because I realized that if there are no floppies, I don't have any desire to own them. Because before it was like, well, if I buy the floppies, I don't want to pay again for the trade, and I don't want to pay just for the trade, and then but I really love Ed Brubaker, so I want to collect this floppy. And I'm like, and now I don't have to. Nope, decisions out of my hands. I get the best version of the product. It's one nice big hardcover for $24.95, which I only have to pay $18 for because the store near me gives me a 30% discount on all trades. So it's a super win, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on the collector side. And I wish more. I wish that model would open up, at least, especially for like the really good creators. It'd be awesome if Ram V just was like, I just do hardcover graphic novels now.
Heck yeah, I got a feeling he'll get there, especially with him kind of starting there. With his self-published book Black Mamba. It was a hardcover graphic novel, and it would be cool to see him kind of complete that cycle and get back over there. Yeah, he's just got to just keep kind of hacking away. Him being on Detective definitely gets us, budding Ram V fans that much closer to that being a reality. Absolutely.
All right. We're going to be ending it now because I'll be going in the next 10 minutes. We're going to be doing the retrospective with Bowtie, Mr. Zach, Mr. Bowtie, because he thinks bow ties are cool. And then back issue Brain, we're going to be doing the second part of Batman Strange Apparitions, 474 through 476, Return of Deadshot. And
Hugo Strange story, right?
Yes, yeah. Hugo Strange in it, Rupert Thorne, Silver St. Cloud. Some would say probably the peak of Batman comic books before it went all downhill.
I don't know, man. Batman's riding pretty high right now.
Well, I guess
all downhill.
Is he riding high, or is he high?
I'm telling you, man, it's still really early, so I don't want to make big proclamations. But what I'm seeing so far, Batman and Detective as a combination could possibly be in the best hands in the past at least 10 years. Yeah. Right? Because you think of like all the best, most like when like, okay, well, what about Snot Riders New 52 run? Okay, great, but what was Detective doing? Right? There's been times where one of the books did well or was in good hands, but the other one not. But when they were both, I'm trying to think of a time, because Zdarsky, his first issue was like, okay, this is decent, it's fine. There's a few qualms I had with it. That second issue, holy crap! Wow. And then of course Ram V's
issue. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. As far as an action issue goes, I did a video on it. It is near perfect action. It is so well written. The fight, like the whole action scenes are like, you just go, this were a movie, these would be amazing scenes. How he scripts it and designs the action to go, how he keeps the intensity. It felt like the first time I watched Terminator, the original Terminator, like back in the day, and you're just like, oh my god, like just gripping. He just knows what he's doing. And it's so weird to read that book because like there's times where I'm just like, man, Zdarsky, sometimes you blow my socks off, and there's other times where I'm just like, this is meh, Like I noped out. I couldn't finish reading the Night series. I got halfway through. I got like the issue 6, and I was like, this is not interesting to me anymore. Same thing with the Catwoman backup story in Batman. I'm just like, it's not like it's bad. It's just not. It's whatever. But then other stuff you go, you're like, this is like top of your game. Like,
I will say though, Zdarsky Catwoman backup story is better than the actual main Catwoman story.
That I don't disagree. That doesn't surprise me. But it's great. I know some people disagree and go, Ash, the Batman story is not the thing. It's like I get it. Like the problem now is Batman is such a multifaceted character that some people want the action-oriented Batman, some people want like the detective Batman and things like that. And my answer to that is, well, you got like the best of both worlds now, because if you don't want the action-y kind of style, go over to detective and you got Rom V. And if you think that's kind of the boring and you want the more wham bam, flashy colors, lots of action, then you got Batman.
All right. So we'll see you guys in 10 minutes. Thank you for showing up. Thank Ash for joining us tonight. Skip, as always, pleasure to have a year too. That's it for tonight. Make sure for those who are still listening, I mean, it'd be a miracle for those who actually watch this after it's over and all the way through. But leave your top 5 or even your picks. What you got? I don't know what you guys got. Did you agree with what I thought was the best of the week? Leave it down. Your thoughts, your complaints, all your insults, whatever, in the comment section down below. That being said, good night, guys.
Thanks for having me on. Good night.
Yep.
Later. Thank you.